Hi folks, Steven here. So this is the second part of our Myst integration series, and this time we're focusing on the Wii U. Now before we get started, I wanted to point out, as I kind of knew and one of my viewers pointed out in the comments of the Punch-Out episode from a month or so ago, is that Nintendo doesn't fully own Pokemon. It's sort of a shared thing that they have. Nintendo sort of owns some of the trademarks and also co-owns the Pokemon Company, which is also, managed by Creatures Inc. and Game Freak. So it's not as if Nintendo can do, whatever they want with Pokemon, but they obviously do have some leverage. They just have to work with some other people to sometimes make things happen. But I want to get that out of the way before we went forward with this. But back to the Wii U. So Pokemon on the Wii U so far, there's been some stuff. Notably, there's been some Virtual Console. There's Pinball Ruby and Sapphire on the Game Boy Advances on there. And in Europe, they have the first Pokepark game out there. Now, this is, of course, a Wii game download, not strictly Virtual Console, but it's a similar type of thing. And we've heard some rumors, as of about a month or so ago, about some upcoming Virtual Console titles, namely Blue Rescue Team, one of the first Mystery Dungeon games, and Pokemon Ranger. Not confirmed yet, of course, but we'll see what happens. As far as other actual stuff, of course, there's Pokemon Rumble U, the Wii U installment of the series. And then, of course, Pokemon has been in Smash Brothers. But let's take it back a little bit further. You may remember a little game called Nintendo Land. That came out when the Wii U launched. And, it was designed to show off the gamepad controller. And it basically consisted of a series of mini-games based on Nintendo franchises. To me and to a lot of other people, it felt like the Wii U equivalent of Wii Sports, but it definitely did not resonate nearly as much. One of the criticisms, which I kind of have to agree with, is that it's a bit light on content. But given that, you might think, well, maybe they should have pulled from a few more franchises. And it brings up the question, well, where's Pokemon? There's already some touch-based ideas from the DS games. They could reuse those or expand on them. And, they could always try and come up with some new ideas as well that use the gamepad. Now, one possibility that they might have been saving those up for a Pokepark game, maybe a third one on the Wii U. And, but there's really not one on the horizon. We haven't seen anything, or I haven't even heard a rumor of there being one. So, there's probably some reason for it out there, but I kind of wanted to point that out as sort of a semi-obvious gap. The second Wii U-related topic I'd like to bring up is Pokemon TV. Now, if you're not familiar with this is a service Pokemon provides, which has a rotating selection of episodes and movies from different generations. And it's available on a variety of devices. There's an iOS client, an Android client, a Kindle Fire, Roku, Chromecast. And if you have a 3DS, there isn't really one. There's something called Pokemon TV that's part of Nintendo Zone if you go to one of those locations. Not quite the same thing, though. But most of all, and relevant to this video, is there's no native client for Wii U. Now, it is technically possible to watch Pokemon TV via the Pokemon website using the Wii U's internal browser, but it's not an ideal experience. There's a couple oddities, you might say, in there that make it not ideal. And, of course, I'd have to mention that the Pokemon anime is also available, at least some parts of it, via some of the native apps that already exist for the Wii U, namely Netflix and Hulu here in North America. And of course, availability varies by region. But all the same, I think having a Pokemon TV client for Wii U would have been nice, and I'll explain a little bit about that. Now, I'm not sure how Pokemon chooses which devices it's going to support. Install base, I'm sure, is a consideration, and, being where the Wii U is now is not particularly helpful, but you think they might have been able to get something done at launch, even if the install base, or if this were at launch, the potential install base were an issue, Nintendo probably could, fund the development of such a thing if the Pokemon Company itself couldn't spare the money for it. Now, if this were coming out at launch, I suppose it would have to be outsourced because Nintendo's teams, that very slow pace they had at the beginning, they were having trouble developing Wii U games, and they probably would have had to give this to some other developer. But still, if they had it at launch, they could put it on the box. Hey, buy this and you can watch free Pokemon episodes on it. They could have used that to attract buyers. Now, I'm not going to say that would have saved the Wii U, nor would having Pokemon Nintendo Land, but I do think that if they had been able to arrange that, the earlier and increased sales and game sales would probably have offset the development cost. It would have been a money-making decision there. But overall, what are your thoughts? Do you think these would have been good ideas, things they should have done? Are there other things, besides, of course, the upcoming Pokken Tournament, you'd like to see on Wii U? Give us some comments. Always like to hear some feedback. All right, folks, thanks.